businesses. There's a lot of them in GTA Online. Arguably too many. And if you just jump into the game, you're gonna have absolutely no clue what the heck is going on. I've made a guide for every single business on this channel, but you guys want to see more guides. And one thing I haven't done is explain them all in one video, because I understand that a lot of people aren't gonna want to go and watch like 15 different videos. So today I'm going to break down and explain every single business and property in GTA Online that can make you money. I'm going to explain how they work, how to make the most money possible, and that's going to help you figure out which ones you actually want to get. So if you enjoyed these videos, a thumbs up would be awesome. Consider subscribing for more stuff like this, and let's jump in. This video is going to have a lot of explaining in it, because this stuff can kind of be complicated, so let's start off by heading over to the board. In GTA Online, all properties and businesses can be broke down into 3 different categories. Ones that will make you passive income in the background while you're doing something else. Businesses that'll make you active income, meaning you can only make money while you're actively working on them. And the third type, well, it's properties that let you start up heists. Technically, this could be thrown into the active income category, but I want to put these as their own thing. To start off, let's go with the passive income businesses. Making money while you can do other stuff. That sounds pretty cool, right? Well, let's go ahead and make things even more complicated. We're going to start off with the MC businesses, and there's 5 different types. I've been demonetized for saying these words before, so the 5 businesses that are all less than legal are 1. Counterfeit cash, 2. Document forgery, 3. The green stuff. Please don't hate me, YouTube. 4. The blue stuff, and 5. The white stuff. I can't say the words, I'm sorry. But they're all different types of drugs. But in order to buy any of these businesses, you actually need another property first. That property is an MC clubhouse. To buy one, go on your phone, go into internet, click on money and services, scroll down to Maze Bank foreclosures. Once you're there, click on clubhouses, and those are all the clubhouses you can buy. Once you look at all the locations, you're gonna notice that the ones in better locations are worth more money. My friendly tip to you, you're not gonna be using this clubhouse much at all. You're pretty much only buying it because you need it. So, because you're not really gonna be using it, just buy the cheapest one. And that's right here. I know it says free for me, that's because I got the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack. If you don't have that starter pack, it's gonna be $200,000, which still is pretty cheap, so just buy that one. Once you've got your clubhouse, head over to it, head inside, head over to the laptop, and using this laptop, you can buy any of the 5 different types of MC businesses. Another friendly tip from hundreds of hours played using these businesses, just like the clubhouse, just buy the cheapest ones. So, how do these businesses actually work, and which ones are the best? Because not all of them are actually worth buying. Well, the concept is pretty simple. Once you're inside one of your businesses, you're going to notice that you've got a supplies and a product bar. Your staff in these businesses are going to use those supplies to make products that you will sell. So, pretty simple concept. As long as you're logged into GTA Online, that supplies bar will go down and that product bar will go up. The only 2 things you need to do are keep that supply bar full and sell the product when you're ready to sell. 2 more things we need to talk about with the MC businesses, and the most obvious is how much money can they make you? Well, before we can get into the numbers, I should tell you that if you're gonna buy one of these businesses, you are absolutely gonna want to buy both the staff and equipment upgrades. You can do that from the laptop in any of your MC businesses, and this is gonna more than double the amount of money you're gonna make. If none of this makes sense, just like every other business, I've made a standalone guide that goes way more in depth, so feel free to check that out below. So starting off with the document forgery, without the staff and equipment upgrades, this will make you $16,000 profit an hour. With them, it's going to make you $38,000 an hour. For the old green stuff, that's going to make you $20,000 without upgrades. With upgrades, it's going to make you $41,000 an hour. For your cash factory, that's going to be $22,000 profit an hour. With upgrades, that goes way up to $48,000 an hour. For the lab, without upgrades, that's $21,000 an hour. With the upgrades, that goes above the cash factory up to $51,000 an hour. And then finally, for your coke, $30,000 base an hour, but with the upgrades, it goes way up to $74,000 an hour, which makes this really, really good. And obviously, that one's the best. Now, whenever you go to resupply these businesses, you've got 2 options. You can either buy or steal supplies. In 2021, there are so many ways to make money in GTA Online, you really shouldn't be wasting your time stealing supplies. If you're looking to make the most money per hour, it's much more time efficient to buy the supplies. That way you can spend that time that you would be stealing supplies to do something else, like a heist, for example. However, the only way that actually becomes a possibility, because it costs $75,000 to buy supplies, the only way you can still make a profit on that is if you have both the staff and equipment upgrades. I know that's super confusing, but since I'm going over every single business, I'm not going to go too in depth with that. If you need more info, again, I've left a guide down to the MC business guide I made last year. And the final tip I can give you for these ones is when to sell. Because if you're playing solo, you should most definitely not be letting these businesses fill all the way up and then trying to sell them. It's just not going to work. The main reason for that is every quarter that the product bar goes up, that's going to spawn another delivery vehicle. So for example, if you tried to sell a full bar of product, like if your business was full, you tried to sell that's going to spawn 4 different vehicles that you're going to need to drive all the way across the map in order to complete that sell mission. And in most cases, you're just not going to have the time to do that because most of the mission timers are only 15 minutes. That doesn't give you enough time to drive up and down the map 4 times. So if you're selling solo, only let it get to about a quarter of that bar being full, and then that's just going to spawn that 1 delivery vehicle, which makes it really easy. So that's MC businesses. Still really good businesses in 2021, particularly Cash, Lab, and Coke. The other 2 you can probably miss out on. Moving on to the next passive business, that's the bunker. When it comes to making money with the bunker, everything we just went through with the MC businesses pretty much applies here. Think of the bunker like a juiced up MC business. Works pretty much the same way, but just gives you more money. The main difference, where you can buy 5 different types of MC businesses, you can only buy 1 bunker. So, how do we buy one? Well, just like with the clubhouse, you want to go to your internet on your phone, go in money and services into Maze Bank foreclosures again. This time, just filter it to bunkers, and again, you're going to see that there's a lot of them around the map. In all honesty, I would recommend buying pretty much any bunker except the 3 that are at the top of the map. The main reason for that, on top of it just being a pain to get to the top of the map all the time, is again during the sell missions. If you've only got a 15-minute timer and you need to do 2 deliveries from the top of the map to the bottom of the map, you just not going to have enough time. If you got the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack, you'd actually have the top bunker for free. If that's you, my main suggestion would be get away from that as far as possible. Even though this one's free, it's just not worth having. Buy one closer to the city if you can. The 2 I would recommend are either the Farmhouse Bunker, which is a bit pricey at 2.375 million, or the Chumash Bunker, which is on the left side of the map and it's a lot cheaper. Both of these 2 are really close to the city, which means when you go to sell the product, you're not going to have that far to go. For me, I normally get one of the bunkers around the Sandy Shores Airport here just because that's where all of my MC businesses are and I like them being close. So once you're inside and ready to make some money, like I said, pretty much the same as the MC businesses. As the supply bar goes down, the product bar is going to go up. And again, just like the MC businesses, if you want to make more money per hour, buy the equipment and staff upgrades. I know they're pretty expensive, but if you plan on playing this game for a while, you will make your money back. As for the security upgrade, that's going to stop your business from getting raided. It's up to you whether you want to buy that. Personally, I don't normally buy that. Where the bunker is different from the MC businesses though, is you can actually choose what your staff are gonna do. So head into the laptop in your bunker, go to assign staff, and you're gonna see that you can either assign everyone to manufacturing, everyone to research, or a split between both. If you do choose to assign some staff to research, essentially what that is this next bar that's in the bunker. So if you choose to assign staff, that bar is gonna go up alongside the product bar if you split the staff between the 2. And every time that research bar fills up, you're gonna unlock the ability to buy a new upgrade for a specific vehicle, maybe a new attachment or different ammo type for Mark II weapons. And that stuff can be useful, but for the overwhelming majority of players, you're probably just gonna want to get as much money as possible. So what I recommend doing is assigning all staff to manufacturing only. Just like the MC businesses, in order to restock or resupply your business, you have the option to either steal or buy supplies for $75,000. And again, time is money in GTA Online. Instead of spending like half an hour resupplying your business if you're doing it solo, it's much more cost effective to just buy the supplies for $75,000 and then go do a heist or a mission or something. So how much money is this business gonna make you? Well, with no upgrades, no staff and equipment upgrades, you're gonna get $40,000 profit an hour. With only the staff upgrade, you're gonna get about $54,000 an hour. With only the equipment upgrade, you'll get about $55,000 an hour. And with both upgrades, you're gonna get about $79,000 profit an hour, which of course makes this better than any of the MC businesses. When you're ready to sell, keep in mind that if the stock bar is over about 20% of the way full, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to spawn a second delivery vehicle. So if you're selling solo, of course you only want one vehicle, so make sure you sell before that stock bar gets to about 20%. So in a nutshell, that's the bunker. Just like the MC businesses, I know I've said that a lot, but I have made a guide for every single business in the game that goes way more in depth, trying to keep each of these sections under 5 minutes. So I think it was like a 10-minute video breaking this bunker down completely. If you need more info, link down below. The final passive business I want to talk about is the Nightclub. But the Nightclub is actually one of the most difficult businesses to understand in the game, because you actually need a bunch of other businesses in order to make this one work. So we'll talk about that one at the end. With the passive businesses out of the way, let's talk about the active businesses. These are businesses that are not gonna make you money in the background. If you want to make money with these, you have to be actively working on them. And to start off, let's start with the warehouses. In GTA Online, there's two different types of warehouses. You've got cargo warehouses and vehicle warehouses. Now, in order to buy either of these properties, you're actually gonna need to own another one first, just like you did with the MC businesses. That property you're gonna need to own is a CEO office. To buy one of these, go into your phone, go in Money and Services, and you want to go into Dynasty 8 Executive. Here, you're going to see the 4 different CEO offices that are in the game, ranging from $1 million way up to $4 million if you want to get the Maze Bank Tower. The good news is, the only difference in these properties is the location, so if you're looking to save money, just buy the cheapest one. Head over there, go inside your new CEO office, and you're going to want to sit down at the computer, but to do that, you have to be a CEO. So head into your interaction menu, scroll down to SecuroServe, and register as a CEO. Pretty simple. Sit down at your computer, and then we're going to have a few options. On the left, we've got special cargo. In the middle, we've got vehicle cargo. And then on the right, we have special vehicle work. Now, we'll go over the first two. As for the special vehicle work on the right, that's going to set you out on special missions, basically, that can earn you a bit of cash. There's really nothing to explain there. The only thing you need to know is they're not as good for making money as the other two. So you can probably forget about them. Now let's talk about the two warehouses, and let's start off with special cargo. Once you click on that link, you're going to notice that there's 3 different types of warehouses that you can buy. You've got small, medium, and large. The only differences is how many crates they can hold. Small warehouses are cheaper and they can hold 16 crates. Medium are a bit more expensive, but they can hold 42. And large warehouses are even more expensive, but they can hold 111 crates. If you're looking at completing big sell missions, you're probably going to want to go for the large warehouses. It's also important to note that you can actually buy up to 5 different warehouses, and we'll get into why that could be useful in a bit. But for now, let's actually talk about how this business works. In a really simple explanation of how this business works, you pay money to find the location of different crates. Then you go out, steal those crates, bring them back to your warehouse, and then sell them for more money. Whenever you decide that you want to buy some crates, or buy the location of those crates, I should say, you want to head to your CEO office, or terabyte if you have a terabyte. Click on your warehouse and you'll see this menu here. And here you can choose to buy the location of 1, 2, or 3 crates. You can buy 1 crate for $2,000, 2 crates for $8,000, which is $4,000 per crate, or 3 crates for $18,000, which is $6,000 per crate. Now, if you want to make the most profit per crate, of course you would just buy 1 crate at a time. But we don't really care about making the most money per crate, we just want to make the most money per hour. And in order to do that, we need to save time. And the easiest way to save time is to buy all 3 crates at once. So this is the one you're going to want to buy most of the time. Once you've bought the location of those crates, your job's pretty simple. Go out and steal them. Now, when you do this, you're going to get one of two different types of steal missions. Either you're going to have to go to a location and pick up a van or a vehicle that's going to have all 3 crates in it, or you're going to have to go somewhere and pick up each of the crates individually, which means you're going to have to go to and from your warehouse 3 times. It's completely random, of course. Picking them all up at once is ideal, but if you get one of the bad steal missions, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You just sort of have to do it. Once you've finished that sell mission, you can head back to either your CEO office or your terabyte if you have one. I'm going to my terabyte here, and then you can do that again. The only downside is you're going to notice that there's actually a cooldown. So in the meantime, you can either wait around and do something else to make a bit of money, or if you have 2 or more crate warehouses, you can actually just source crates for those warehouses instead. So for a lot of people who really grind these businesses out, you're going to see they have 5 large crate warehouses all across the map, and they never have to wait for any cooldowns because they can just keep sourcing crates for either of those warehouses. Okay, so when should you sell your crates? Well, it really depends how many people you have playing with you. If you're playing solo, you're only going to want to sell a maximum of 9 crates at once. Anything over 9 crates is going to spawn another sell vehicle. And if you've ever tried selling product with multiple vehicles in a public lobby, you probably know that that's not a good idea. People are going to blow that up. If you've got between 10 and 27 crates, you're going to get 2 sell vehicles to spawn. And if you sell over 27 crates at once, that's going to spawn 3 sell vehicles. So make sure you have a group of friends to help you. Now, to be honest, it's kind of hard to tell you how much money you're going to make per hour with this one, because it really depends on how fast you do it. But if you want a strategy that a lot of people actually use, buy 5 large crate warehouses, fill them all up to the max, and then wait until they're double money. Normally, like once every couple of months, cargo warehouses are going to go double money, so you're going to earn twice as much money for selling them. And I know a lot of people keep a lot of cargo waiting around so they can sell it for double the profits instead of selling it like every week or every day. That pretty much sums up the cargo warehouse. If you want a bit more of an in-depth guide, I made a video link below. And let's move on to the vehicle warehouses now. Last time I explained the vehicle warehouses was in my Rags to Riches series, and you guys seem to really like that and found it pretty easy to understand. So instead of me just copying what I said there, I'm going to play the clip from Rags to Riches to explain how the vehicle warehouse works. Enjoy. We're going to be buying a vehicle warehouse. This is a really good solo business because once you get it all set up and ready to go, you can make $80,000 every 20 minutes with this one. So in order to buy a vehicle warehouse, go over to the computer in your CEO office, click on vehicle cargo, and you'll see there's a bunch of different ones here that you can buy. I recommend just buying the cheapest one. The location is actually pretty decent for the price, and the cheapest one is right here for $1.5 million. So once you've got your $1.5 million, come back to your CEO office, buy the cheapest vehicle warehouse, the La Mesa vehicle warehouse. And of course, don't waste any money on these cosmetic upgrades. That's not what you need right now. You've seen how difficult it can be to make money, so just buy the standard one, please. And then we can move on to the next step. So how does this business work? The whole concept of this business is you go around, you steal high-end vehicles, deliver them back to your warehouse, modify them, and then sell them to a dealer. It's a completely illegal business, but this is Grand Theft Auto after all. So when you're ready to get started, log back in to your computer in your CEO office, go into your vehicle warehouse on the computer, and click Source Vehicle. This is going to start up that mission where you steal the vehicle and deliver it back to your warehouse, so let's do that one now. Now we're going to talk about how to maximize your profits with this business. It is going to get a little bit complicated here, so let's head over to the CEO office and explain it. When you source a vehicle for your vehicle warehouse, it's going to give you a standard range, mid-range, or top range vehicle to steal. Standard range vehicles can get you $30,000 profit per vehicle, mid-range can get you $50,000 per vehicle, and top range can get you $80,000 profit per sale. So looking at those numbers, it would be great if we could just constantly sell top range vehicles, right? Well, you actually can do that, and I guess it's kind of by sort of abusing the game's mechanics a little bit, but I'll explain how it works. It'll all make sense, don't worry. When you click Source Vehicle, it's going to give you a random vehicle out of these 3 types. However, in the actual pool for the vehicle warehouse, there's only 10 different standard range vehicles, 10 different mid-range vehicles, and 12 different top range vehicles. the game isn't going to give you a duplicate of any vehicle until you have all 32 vehicles in your warehouse. So what does this mean? This means if we continue sourcing vehicles until we have all 10 standard and all 10 mid-range vehicles in our vehicle warehouse, from that point on, the only vehicle the game is going to let us source is top range vehicles. So what I'm saying is you never want to sell your standard or mid-range vehicles. You just want to leave them in your warehouse doing nothing. And once you have all 10 standard and all 10 mid-range vehicles in there, just continue sourcing a vehicle. It'll be a top range vehicle, then sell that top range vehicle. Source another top range, sell another top range. Is that making sense? If all of that is too confusing, just remember this simple rule. You only want to sell top range vehicles, never sell anything else. Alright, so let's sell one of these things. Alright, we've got 9 top range vehicles here, but we've got all 10 mid-range and standard range vehicles. So we'll click on one of the top range vehicles, click export, and then we can choose who we want to sell it to, a private buyer, a showroom dealer, or a specialist dealer. They're all going to pay different amounts of money, but obviously we want to sell it to the specialist dealer. That's going to make us the most money. We're going to earn $100,000 from the sale, but it is going to cost $20,000 to modify. $100,000 minus $20,000 is $80,000 profit. So we're going to select that one and then modify the car. Once you get to the modification stage, it really doesn't matter what you do to the vehicle. All of the upgrades will be free. You've already paid the $20,000. You can make the vehicle look as cool or as stupid as you like. It really doesn't matter. It's only going to last this one mission. So really, I don't put much thought into it. So let's sell this one and we'll talk about what to do from there. Oh man, I still really love that video. So that's the vehicle warehouse done and dusted. Hopefully that helped. If you need a bit more info, I've done a couple videos on the vehicle warehouse, so maybe check those out. But for now, let's move on to the next active business, and that's the hangar. And this business operates in a pretty similar way to the cargo warehouse. Basically, it's the same sort of thing, except you're doing it all with air vehicles, and it doesn't actually make you as much money either. Now, there's a bunch of hangars you can buy. The 2 locations are either in LSIA at the bottom of the map, or you can buy a hangar in Fort Zancudo. I'm going to recommend that you buy one in Fort Zancudo. The reason for that is because it's in a better location for all of the missions, but also, if you own a hangar in Fort Zancudo, you actually get clearance to enter Fort Zancudo whenever you want. You're not going to get a wanted level anymore. So that can obviously be really useful. Before we even get into how to make money with the hangars, the most important reason, and probably the reason you're gonna buy this property, is because it allows you to store your own aircraft. A lot of the aircraft in GTA Online, if you want to own them, you need to own a hangar. So even if you never use this property for the business side of it, for actually making money, just owning a hangar gives you a lot of benefits, clearly. So how do you actually make money with it? Well, like I said, it's pretty similar to the cargo warehouse. So head into your hangar, head up to your laptop. Once you're there, you can source some cargo, go out, steal it, bring it back to your hangar, and then sell it in a sell mission later on. What's interesting about the hangar business is there's actually different bonuses available if you sell certain types of cargo together. So here's what I mean. Tobacco, alcohol, and counterfeit goods. Those 3 are grouped together. For every 5 crates of that type of cargo you have, you're going to get an extra 5% when you go to sell it. Animal materials, art and antiques, or jewelry and gemstones, for every 10 of those crates, you're going to get a 12% bonus. And then for narcotics, chemicals, or medical supplies, for every 25 crates you have of those, you're going to get a 35% bonus. So if you think you're going to source and stock more than 25 crates at any given time, then I would only be sourcing narcotics, chemicals, or medical supplies. Keep in mind that when you go to sell your cargo, if you have between 1 and 10 crates, it's likely that there's only going to be 1 sell vehicle. That goes up to 2 vehicles if you have between 11 and 25 crates, and it goes up to 3 vehicles if you have 26 to 50 crates. So if you did want to do this solo, which I wouldn't recommend because there's a bunch of other businesses that pay more than this one, but if you did decide that you wanted to do it, you probably don't want to have more than 10 crates at once, which means that it might be best for you to source animal materials, art and antiques, or jewelry and gemstones, because that's going to give you a 12% bonus for every 10 crates. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but basically that's the hangar. Would I recommend getting one? Yes, but not for the business side of things, just for the fact that you can store aircraft. That's pretty important if you want to play this game a lot. The next active business we're going to go over is the auto shop, and this business is really, really cool. If you're a fan of cars and vehicle customization, this is probably one of the properties you're going to want to own. And the reason for that is it comes with a 10-car garage standard, but you can also customize all of your vehicles just like you would in LS Customs directly inside this business. It's an auto shop after all. In order to buy your own auto shop, head into Maze Bank foreclosures like you did with a bunch of other businesses and pick one up. None of the locations are really terrible, so just think which one's going to be best for you and go with that one. As for the upgrades on the auto shop, you've got a few to choose from. You can choose between 0, 1, or 2 staff members. And in the extras tab, you have an option to add a second car lift. It's important to know that this is just a second car lift. The base auto shop already comes with one. So what is the car lift? Well, the car lift and the second car lift are essentially one of the ways you can make money from the auto shop, but they're kind of the worst way to make money. Every once in a while, a customer will bring their vehicle in, it'll be put on one of these 2 car lifts, and then your job is to modify the vehicle to that customer's expectations and then deliver it to them. Most of the time, this is going to cost you around $35,000 to do that, and a successful delivery will get you around $60,000, so that's a profit of $25,000. When compared to the other businesses in GTA Online, that's really not good, especially considering that you actually have to do all of this. This isn't passive. You have to deliver it halfway across the map yourself for only $25,000. That's where these 2 staff upgrades come into it. If you want to buy 1 or 2 of these staff upgrades, you're still going to have to do all of the modifications yourself, but you're not going to have to deliver it yourself. When you go to deliver it, you can actually just click a button, let your staff member deliver it, but the only problem with that is there's a really high chance they're going to crash the car on the way. Most of the time I did this, I only got around $45,000 per delivery, which is only about $10,000 profit. Considering how expensive these staff upgrades are, my recommendation is to stay away from the car lift side of the business and sort of put your attention to the next part that we're going to talk about. The main purpose of the auto shop is because you can start up heists. Well, not really heists, sort of mini heist hybrids with missions. It's a bit more extended and intense than a normal contact job, but it's not quite as big as a heist. As for how much money you can make from it, it's sort of in the middle. Not going to pay as little as a contact mission, but not going to pay as much as a heist. So if you want to start one of these up, head up to the top of the auto shop, up to the planning board, pick a job to start up. You're going to have to do 2 setup missions for those, and then you're going to have a finale. You can do these completely solo or with up to 4 people. Normally they're going to take around 25 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast you are. And depending on the job, the pay will be somewhere around $190,000 up to over $300,000 for some of the better ones. If you're focusing on solely making money, I wouldn't really recommend the auto shop overall just because there's better things to do, like heists. But if you're an experienced grinder who has a lot of money and isn't really worried about just making as much money as you can as fast as you can, these are pretty fun, so I would recommend picking it up then. The final part of the auto shop that we should talk about is the exotic exports list. That's this blackboard here on the right side of your auto shop, and each day 10 different vehicles are going to be on this list. If you find those vehicles in free roam, you're going to be able to deliver them down to the docks, but only for $20,000. So again, not really worth it in terms of making money. So that's the auto shop. Let's move on to the next business. It's time to go over the heist properties. That means the primary way you're going to make money through these businesses or properties is just by playing the heists that they allow you to start up. And we'll start off with the cheapest and the oldest of the bunch, the high-end apartments. These things start at a pretty reasonable $200,000, and they can get very expensive, but honestly, you don't need to go for those ones. My pick of the bunch would be Alta Street. It's just over $200,000 and in a pretty good location. There's really not much to go over with these ones. Once you buy your high-end apartment, head over to Lester, a big L will pop up on your map, and once you go talk to him, just head into your heist planning board in your apartment and start up the heists. You're going to have to complete these in order, so it's going to go through the Fleecer job, onto the prison break, then Humane Labs raid, Series A funding, and then finally the Pacific Standard. These heists can be a lot of fun, and if you complete all of them in order, you're going to get around $2.5 million all up, so pretty good for a beginner. But beyond that, they're really not that useful, because these things can be really difficult to set up. The first heist, the Fleecer job, can be done with 2 people, but the other 4 heists need to be done with 4 people. No more, no less. If a single person leaves, you have to start again. I've had times where I'm on the final part of the Pacific Standard job, someone leaves, and we have to start that heist again, which sometimes can take a really long time. The only people I would really recommend these heists to are beginners, because it's $200,000 to buy one of these apartments, and you can get $2.5 million, even though it's going to be a fair bit of work. Still, this is a really good way for the beginners. If you're not a beginner, the only reason I would ever suggest trying these heists is exactly that, just to try them out. If you're an experienced player, there are many other money-making methods that are way better than this. The way Rockstar has made heists over the years has sort of changed and gotten a little bit better each time they've done it. So those apartment heists were the first ones they ever did, and the second one, which leads us on to the next property, is the facility, and this lets you start up the Doomsday series heists. Unlike the apartment series heists, there's only 3 of these ones, there's not 5, but these ones do pay more money. But a little disclaimer, these things are no less painful than the original heist. These things can be really difficult unless you have a set crew that you're going to run it with. The first thing we have to talk about with a facility is the location. In all honesty, I would consider paying a bit more money for one of these to get a location closer to the city, because in all of the setup missions, pretty much, you're going to be driving to Los Santos. And in some of the prep and setup missions as well, you're going to be driving from Los Santos all the way back. Now, if you're completely broke, sure, buy one of the cheaper ones, but if you can afford it, again, I would highly recommend getting one as close to the city as possible. Once you decide which facility you want, there's a few upgrades you can get to it. None of them are really that worth it unless you want to pay a lot of money for an orbital cannon that costs like $500,000 to shoot just once. The only one I would really recommend is getting a sleeping quarters for $150,000, and that lets you spawn there whenever you want. Once you're inside, you'll have a spot for a bunch of your vehicles, including the Avenger, which was one of the main vehicles that came out with this update. Is a huge VTOL. And as for the Doomsday heists themselves, these are the payouts. So on hard mode, Act 1 can get you $812,000, Act 2 will get you just over 1.1 million, and Act 3 will get you 1.5 million. Again, that's on hard mode, and that's the total cut, so that price is gonna have to be divided amongst however many people you're doing it with. So, do I think the facility is worth it? For money? No. But if you want to do all the heists and have fun with friends, then maybe. Okay, on to the next business. This is another property where I didn't really know where to put it, but I'm gonna put it in the heist properties because a contract is kind of like a heist, and it's the agency. Agencies start at about $2 million and go up to $2.8 million, so they are quite expensive, but you really only need the cheapest one. To put it simply, there's 4 ways you can make money with the agency. The first is through security contracts. These are sort of like juiced up VIP missions, basically, just like a bit better. The next way is through the Dr. Dre VIP contract, which can pay you $1 million. The third way is through Franklin payphone hits, and then the fourth way is through the wall safe in your office. Starting off with the security contracts, you can start these up from the office computer, or you can actually just call Franklin for them. The difficulty on these is gonna be random, but depending on what the difficulty is, you can earn anywhere from about $32,000 up to over $70,000 if you get the hardest difficulty. Pretty much all of the security contracts, except for the asset protection, can really only take like 3 to 5 minutes. These are pretty simple things. Asset protection, though, will take 10 minutes guaranteed every single time. If you want to start up a payphone hit from Franklin, what you need to do is just open your phone and give Franklin a call. Once you do that, the nearest payphone will pop up on your map. Now, these are some of the most underrated ways to make money in GTA Online. Honestly, you can complete these in like 2 or 3 minutes pretty comfortably, and if you complete the challenge that Franklin gives you, you can get $85,000 per assassination. $85,000 in 2 minutes? Well, that's pretty good, but they do have a 20-minute cooldown between missions. Next up, we've got the VIP contract, the Dr. Dre contract that just came out. In order to start this one up, you're gonna have to buy the agency and like own it for a little bit. You're gonna have to start up a security contract, then Franklin will tell you how to start it up. but just in case you missed it, just go to your office computer and click VIP contract. The contract is honestly quite similar to a heist. Once you get pretty decent at it, you can probably complete this in about 1.5 to 2 hours, and each time you complete it, it's going to give you $1 million. So not amazing, but also not terrible. I'd say it's in the top 5 money-making methods in GTA Online. And then the final way you can make money is through the wall safe in your office. Now, this is going to start off at $250 per in-game day, which is 48 minutes. But each 5 security contracts you complete, that number is going to go up by $250. That'll max out at $20,000 per day, but if you complete a couple hundred security contracts, you'll be getting $20,000 a day passively. In-game day, that is, so every 48 minutes. That's not too bad. But it is a pretty long grind, so keep that in mind. Couple extra things you're going to want to know about the agency. It comes with a 20-car garage whenever you buy one, so that's pretty neat. Plus, you can buy the armory for $720,000, which is going to give you your own personal ammunition inside your agency. On top of that, you're going to get a discount on all guns that you buy through here, plus you can buy body armor through here. This is the first property ever in GTA Online that you can get body armor with. So overall, I think this is kind of worth it. If you add the vehicle workshop to the agency as well, you can add the new Imani tech, which on a few vehicles will add a missile lock-on jammer so those oppressors can't lock onto you anymore. Again, I think that's pretty neat. Alright, on to the next business. The next business we're going to go over is the arcade. The arcade was added back in 2019, and there's 6 different locations for you to choose from. My suggestion to you is avoid the 2 up north. They're really, really far away from the casino. And the reason that's important is because the arcade is the property that lets you start up the Diamond Casino heist. Before you buy an arcade though, you're going to have to go through a cutscene with Lester, which is going to be on the right side of Los Santos. So if you see the letter L on the right side of the city, go talk to him. As of today, I kind of feel like the casino heist is a bit underrated, purely because it's not solo. The Cayo Perico heist is the newest heist in the game, and it's solo, so everyone just gravitates towards that one because they want to do it by themselves to make the most money possible. But the Diamond Casino heist has to be completed with anywhere between 2 to 4 players. The funny thing is, if you're playing with 2 players, this is probably still the best way to make money in the game. If you're playing it with 2 people, this and the Cayo Perico heist probably make you about the same amount of money. What can make the Diamond Casino heist really good as well is you can do all of the setups solo, it's just the finale that needs to be done with a friend. So basically, you can do all of the setups yourself, grab a friend to help you with the finale and say, hey man, look, I did all of the setups, I'm gonna take 80% of the cut because you're only helping me with the last like 15%. Your friend will probably still want to help you because they're still going to make, you know, like $400,000 for doing almost nothing, just like 10 minutes work. And then that way, if you're taking 80% of the cut, in most situations, if you do it really well with 2 people, get the best loot possible, you're going to walk out of there with about $1.6 million. All of the setups for this heist can be done in just over 1 hour as well, so all up, that's pretty good. The other way the arcade can make you money is just through the safe that's in your office in the arcade, and if you have a fully outfitted arcade, that's going to make you $5,000 every in-game day, which is 48 minutes. So not something you're really going to notice, but it can add up over time. You can also add a bunch of arcade machines to your arcade if you like playing retro-style games, but maybe actually the best part of the arcade is the Master Control Terminal. So to buy the Master Control Terminal upgrade, you're going to have to do that through the laptop that's in the basement or in your office of the arcade. And what this is going to allow you to do is manage all of your businesses from the one spot. So instead of having to fly out to all of your businesses individually and resupply them, you can actually just buy all the supplies and even start sell missions from here. So this is actually a huge time saver for anyone who really likes to grind out this game. So if you're a grinder, I would recommend picking this up for sure. The final heist business, I kind of struggled calling it a business, but we definitely do need to include it in this video, is the Kosatka submarine. Now, technically, this is actually a vehicle because you buy it in Warstock Cash and Carry and you can drive it around. So, I mean, it's a vehicle, but it does let you start up a heist, the Cayo Perico heist, which currently is the best one in the game. So, the Kosatka submarine starts at $2.2 million without any upgrades, and that might seem like a lot, but trust me, you're going to make way more than that really quickly as well. There's actually not too much to talk about with the Kosatka itself. You can add things like a sonar station, guided missiles, but really they aren't that necessary. You can also add a weapon workshop to upgrade weapons, but I mean, if you don't want to get that, you don't have to, because you probably already have one somewhere somewhere else. Maybe the only upgrade I would actually recommend buying is one of the Moonpool vehicles. It's the Sparrow, because this is going to make the Kaibarika High setup missions so much easier and so much faster for you, so I do recommend picking that up. But outside of that, the process is pretty simple. Just play the Kaibarika Heist. It can get you up to $1.5 million an hour, which is absolutely insane, and that's about it. One thing I should mention as well is you will need to go to the music locker in order to be able to unlock the Kosatka, because you're going to need to get the intro cutscene to the Kaibarika Heist, which is in the music locker. But after that, the process is pretty simple. Buy a Kosatka and make a ridiculous amount of money. That does it for the heist properties, but we got one final business to go over. It's the Arena Workshop. No, I'm kidding. We didn't actually go over the Arena Workshop. It's kind of useless, so I didn't include that one. But we have to go over the Nightclub, because this is probably the most complicated business in the game. Just like every other business, we have to talk about location. There's a bunch of nightclubs across the city, but my recommendation is try to buy one as north as possible, just because that makes it easier in order to do your sell missions, which are normally on the top of the map. Now, I've mentioned a bunch of times throughout this video that I've made separate guides on pretty much all of these businesses. If you want to know how the Nightclub works completely, like, you're gonna need to watch the dedicated video I did on it, because there is just so much to break down and it's really complicated to explain, but I'll give you a brief little intro here. If you want to know more, again, click that video link that'll be in the description. The first way to make money with the Nightclub is through the safe in the wall, like a bunch of other businesses. But this is probably one of the worst safes in the game, because in order to actually make a decent amount of money from this, you need to do a bunch of popularity missions for your Nightclub, which take a really long time and are kind of boring, so that's not going to be worth your time, basically. You can also book different DJs to play in your Nightclub for $100,000 that can boost your popularity in your Nightclub, which will make you more money in your safe, but like I said, it's just not really worth it. The way we're going to be making some real money in the Nightclub is through the warehouse. As you can see on this screen here, there's 5 possible technicians that you can unlock. One of them is going to be unlocked by default. If you want the rest, you're going to have to pay to hire them, and it might seem like a lot of money. It's a few $100,000 each, but they can make you a lot of money in the long run. So how the Nightclub warehouse works is it's a passive business, just like a lot of the ones we went over at the start of the video. But what's different is you actually need a bunch of other businesses in order to make this business work. As you can see here, there are a bunch of different things you can get your technicians to acquire, basically. Cargo and shipments, sporting goods, South American imports, it goes on. All of these actually correspond to a different business that's already in the game. I'll put those on screen now. So for example, if you want your technician to get some sporting goods for you, you need to own a bunker as well. If you want your technician to get cargo and shipments, you need to own a cargo warehouse. And basically what's going to happen from that point is once you assign a technician to get a certain type of product, that's just going to happen in the background over time, and that's going to fill up in your warehouse. Once you've got enough product, you can sell it just like any other passive business, but this is going to be completely solo, which is actually pretty good. So how much can all of these make you? Well, I'll put this list on screen now. That shows you which ones are the best. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, this isn't going to be cheap, is it? And the answer is no. If you want to make a decent amount of money with the Nightclub, you're going to need to buy all of the technicians, and you're going to need at least 5 other businesses. So this is definitely not a business I would recommend for any new players. This business is basically only for people who have hundreds of hours in the game already and are planning on playing thousands more. I hope that gave you a bit of an idea of how this works. Again, there's a bit more to go into, so I would recommend watching that full guide if you're planning on getting a Nightclub. And we'll wrap it up there. That was a long video. Is that the longest video on the channel? Anyway, I hope it helped you out. Like, I hope this is a video that can help people out for like years to come, so I don't need to make a new one of these anytime soon, because that was a lot. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope it helps. If it did, a thumbs up would be awesome. Subscribe for more stuff like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Boys!
Favorite color, money green. Paper. I've been on my grind since I was in the 7th grade. Got my first kid, I was only 17. Always a provider for my